यस्याहुरागमविदः परिपूर्णशक्तेः अंशे कियत्यपि निविष्टममुं प्रपञ्चम् तस्मै तमालरुचिभासुरकन्धराय नारायणी सहचराय नमः शिवाय। नानाभाष्यादृता सा सगुणफलगतिर्वैधविद्याविशेषैः तत्तद्देशाप्तिरम्या सरिदिव सकला यत्र यात्यंशभूयम् तस्मिन्नानन्दसिन्धावति महति फले भवविश्रान्तिमुद्रा शास्त्रस्योद्घाटितायैः प्रणमतु हृदि तान् नित्यमाचार्यपादान् विद्यारण्यमुनीशाय विद्यारण्येषु नित्यशः चरत्केसरिणे माद्यद्विद्वत्कुञ्जरवैरिणे यो भूद्व्याख्यातवेदार्थः प्रज्ञया तपसा तथा कृतस्मृतिपुराणाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। लीढालीढपुराणसूक्तिशकलावष्टम्भ सम्भावना पर्यस्तश्रुतिसेतुभिः कतिपयैः नीते कलौ सान्द्रताम् श्रीकण्ठोऽवततारयस्य वपुषा कल्क्यात्मनेवाच्युतः श्रीमानप्पयदीक्षितः स जयति श्रीकण्ठविद्यागुरुः। My humble obeisance to Sri Sharadamba of Sringeri, my humble obeisance to Sri Adishankara Bhagavatpada, my humble obeisance to Advaita Vidyacharya Srimad Abhaya Dikshitendra, my humble obeisance to Mahasanidhanam, Jagadguru Shankaracharya Sri Bharati Tirtha Mahaswamigal, my humble obeisance to Sanidhanam, Jagadguru Shankaracharya Shri Vidushekhara Bharati Swamigal. I thank the organizers of Sringeri Guru Bandhava for organizing this speech on Chitra Purnami today. Parameshwaravatara, Advaita Vidyacharya, Nityagnihotri, Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra attained Sayujya Mukti in Chidambaram Kshetram on this holy day. The last 10 to 12 years of Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra were cast in Chidambaram Kshetram. When he was around 72 years old, so one morning he had asked his sons to take him to Chidambaram Natarajar's temple for darshanam. And it happened to be a Chitra Purnami day. Very early in the morning, he had gone to take darshanam of Nataraja. And when he saw the deity of Nataraja, he uttered 1.5 shlokas. And when he uttered the first half of the second shloka, he merged into the deity of Swami Nataraja. And these are the 1.5 shlokas. Chidambaram idampuram prathitameva punyasthalam sutashi vinayojvala sukritayascha kaschit kritaha vayamsi mama saptate rupari naiva bhoge spruha nakinchida hamarthaye shivaparam didrikshe param abhati hataka sabha natapadapat jyotirmayo manasi me tarunarunoyam. This city of Chidambaram is very famous as a Tirtha Kshetra. Splendidly modest sons have been born to me. I have composed some good works in my lifetime. I have crossed 70 years of age. Longing for pleasure is something that I do not have now. I only want one thing in life, and that is to see the abode of my Lord. The rising sun of the light of the lotus feet of the dancer of the golden hall, that is Chidambaram, Kanakasabha, flashes within my mind. So Abhati, says Dikshitendra, and the word Jyotirmaya is something that is very, very important here. Generally, Bhagavan appears with a form that can never be perceived by the senses, and it is Jyotirmayam in nature. So this is how Vedanta Shastram describes the form of Bhagavan that appears to sadhakas. So saying this, Dikshitendra emerged into the deity of Swami Natarajan. Then his son Nilakantha Dikshitar, so this is another different Nilakantha Dikshitar who should not be confused with Mahakavi Shri Nilakantha Dikshitar of Palamade. That Nilakantha Dikshitar was the grandson of Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra's younger brother Achan Dikshitar. And this Nilakantha Dikshitar was the eldest son of Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra. Both of them had the same name. So the eldest son of Dikshitendra subjoined him to complete the remaining half of the second sloka. Nunam jaramarana ghora pishacha kirna samsara moharajini viratim prayata. Certainly, the bewildering night of samsara that is filled with the fierce demons of births and deaths has certainly come to an end. So this form of mukti is known as Saijya Mukti. And Jagadguru Shankaracharya Shri Sachidananda Shivabhinam and Nrsimha Bharati Swamigal explains this form of mukti in his Sanskrit essay Purushartha Nirnaya. So he says, Sayujyam Sagunasya Devata Rupasya Ahangrahopasanam Kurvataha Upasya Devata Tadatya. The state of becoming one with the Upasya Devata by a devotee who performs Ahangrahopasana of the form of that particular Devata who is associated with attributes. And this Ahangrahopasana is a form of Dharopasana in which the Upasaka worships. So he worships the Saguna Devata that is situated within the chambers of his heart or the Hridaya Akasham. So this form of mukti is known as Sayujya Mukti. And it was this form of mukti Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra achieved in Chidambaram. So on this sacred day of Chaitra Purnima, so I would like to discuss on the following topic. So Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra's discussion on the authority of the Shaiva group of Puranas. So the Shaiva Puranas are the following Puranams. Shiva Mahapuranam with its 7 Samhitas, Vidyeshwara Samhita, Rudra Samhita, Shatarudra Samhita, Koti Rudra Samhita, Uma Samhita, Kailasa Samhita, and Vayaviya Samhita. So Shiva Mahapuranam is one of the major Shaiva Puranams. Skanda Puranam with its 2 of its recensions. Matsya Puranam, Kurma Puranam, Linga Puranam, Vamana Puranam. So all of these Puranams are Shaiva Puranams. So there are 2 kandams in the Vedas. So one is the Karma Kandam and the other one is the Jnana Kandam. So the Purva Mimamsa Shastram, so the Mimamsa Sutras composed by Maharshi Jaimini. So this decides the purport of the Karma Kandam of the Vedas. So this is known as Shodasha Lakshani. Purva Mimamsa Shastram or the Purva Mimamsa Sutras is known as Shodasha Lakshani. And Shri Vyasacharya's Vedanta Sutras, so this is known as Chatur Lakshani. And this deals with explaining the purport of the Jnana Kandam of the Vedas. And there are sutras in both the Vedanta Sutras as well as in the Purva Mimamsa Sutras. Smritescha, Smaryatecha, Smaranticha, Pramanam Anumanam Syat. So these sutras, Smritescha, Smaryatecha, Smaranticha. So these are from Karyadhikaranam, Pratishedhadhikaranam, Amshadhikaranam, Amshadhikaranam and Anishtadhikari Adhikaranam of the Brahma Sutra. Pramanam Anumanam Syata. This is a sutram from the Shruti Prabalyadhikaranam of Purva Mimamsa. So, through all of these sutras, the authority of the Smritis has been explained. So, the very first authority in knowing the Supreme Brahman are the Vedas. Swami Vidyaranyar says in his Puranasaram, Veda Pramanam Prathamam Taeva cha tatah param smritayascha Puranani Bharatam Munipungavaha. The very first pramanam or authority in knowing the supreme truth, the ultimate truth, are the Vedas. And then the Smritis are the next pramanam or authority. And then comes the Itihasa Puranams. So the next authority is to the Itihasa Puranams. So there is also a vacuum in the Chandogya Upanishad which says Itihasa Puranam Pushpam. So through these passages, so the authority of the Puranams has been shown to us by our ancient Maharshis as well as by the Acharyas. So there are 18 Mahapuranams and 18 Upapuranams. Some Puranams deal with, so they explain the supremacy of Bhagavan Vishnu. Some Puranams deal with the supremacy of Parameshwara. Some deal with the supremacy of Devi. Some deal with the supremacy of Bhagavan Vinayaka. For example, Muddala Puranam, Ganesha Puranam. So all of these Puranam deal with the paramyam of Bhagavan Vinayaka. Puranams like Devi Bhagavatam and Markandeya Puranam bring out the Gunamahima Vibhuti Vaibhavam of Devi. So there are some Puranams like Shiva Mahapuranam, Skanda Puranam, Matsya Puranam, Kurma Puranam, Vamana Puranam. So these Puranams deal with the Gunamahima Vibhuti Vaibhavam of Parameshwara. Puranams like Vishnu Puranam, Srimad Bhagavatam and Narada Puranam deal with the Gunamahima Vibhuti Vaibhavam of Bhagavan Narayana. According to some Acharyas who lived in Tamil Nadu and other parts of South India, the Puranams are classified into three: Satvika Puranams, Rajasa Puranams and Tamasa Puranams. Those Puranams that deal with the supremacy of Bhagavan Narayana are considered Satvik. Those Puranams that deal with the supremacy of other Devatas are considered Rajasic and Tamasic. People who engage themselves in the Adhyanam of the Satvika Puranams and tread on the path of the Upasana Margas of Bhagavan Vishnu will attain Mukti. And those who engage themselves in the study of the Rajasa Puranams and the so-called Rajasa Puranams and Tamasa Puranams, and engage in the Upasana Margas of the other Devatas like Shiva, Devi, Vinayaka and others, will attain Naraka. So this is the opinion of some Acharyas. And it was Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra who boldly argued against this narrative. So Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra established that the Shaiva Puranams are equally authoritative. The kind of Pramanyam or authority that is there for Vaishnava Puranams is also there for the Shaiva Puranams. And in arguing this, Dikshitendra never argued against the authority of the Vaishnava Puranams. He never argued against the Brahmabhava of Bhagavan Narayana. And he never argued against the Upasana Margas of Bhagavan Narayana. In fact, during his lifetime, Dikshitendra had also written a work named Krishna Dhyana Padhati, in which he had revealed the secret meanings of many mantras related to Bhagavan Krishna. He also wrote an elaborate Sanskrit commentary of Swami Vedanta Deshika's Yadavabhyuday Mahakavyam. So in this way, we can say that Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra never had hatred for Bhagavan Narayana or for the devotees of Bhagavan Narayana. although he was a very great Shiva Bhakta and Shaiva Pauranika. So this is Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra's way of establishing the authority of Shaiva group of Puranas. So there is a beautiful work written by Dikshitendra named Shikharini Mala. And this Shikharini Mala is organized into two sections. The first section is Shrutyartha Vicharaha. The second section is Upabrahmanartha Vicharaha. So Shrutyartha Vicharaha is deliberation on the purport of the passages of the Shrutis. Upabrahmanartha Vichara is the deliberation on the purport of the Upabrahmanas or the Itihasa Puranas. So in the second part, there is a shloka. Yadanyonyadhityam vidhihari haranam vidadhatam purananam matsyam gatimabhidadho kalpabhidaya tadapramanyam tvan mahimavachasam vaktivacha iti asabhyana sthane mukharayati moha pashupate. O Pashupati, due to the fact that Matsya Puranam upholds the nature of the Puranams that demonstrate the supremacy of either of the three gods, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, in various kalpas, there is a narrative that this Puranam argues against the authority of those passages of the Puranams that glorify you. This is not appropriate in a sabha of Pauranika Vidwans. This is something that is out of place and it spreads confusion or wrong information. And in his Sanskrit commentary to this shloka, Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra explains through Purvapaksham and Siddhantam the authority of the Shaiva Puranams. It is a very beautiful way of explaining it. So this is how Dikshitendra begins his Sanskrit commentary. Nirasta Shrutinam Parabhimataha Balabala Vibhagaha. The segregation of the strength and weakness of the Shrutis as put forth by others has been refuted. So the word Parabhimataha here refers to the Acharyas of the Sri Vaishnava and Madhva Sampradayas, starting from Ramanujacharya, Sudarshana Suri, and Vedanta Deshikar in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, Madhvacharya, Jayatirtha, Vyasatirtha, and others in the Madhva Sampradaya. All of these acharyas had established that the Puranams are segregated into three: Satvika, Rajasa, Tamasa. Only those Puranams that deal with the supremacy of Vishnu are Satvika, and the others are Rajasika and Tamasika. So this wrong narrative was spread, and Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra argues against this narrative here. Atha Purananam Satvikadi Vibhaga Kalpana Mula Sa Nirakriyate. So through 46 shlokas in the Shikharini Mala, the basis of the segregation of the strength and weakness of the Shrutis had been refuted. And now the basis for the imagination of segregating the Puranams into Satvika, Rajasa and Tamasa is being refuted now. Evam tavat pare kalpayanti. Others speculate as follows. Kalpeshu keshuchit brahma satvodrikta prabudhyate. Rajasa keshuchit grastaha tamograstascha keshuchit. Techakalpas tato gneyaha. Tato hetoho. Tadekaika dhinatmakaha. Satvikadi samakhyavihi akhyayante maharashibhihi. Takramena cha kalpeshu. Satvikadishu padmabhuhu. Vaishnava Brahmashaivani Puranani Vinirmame Tata eva Purananam Satvikadi Vyavasthitihi Balabala Vibhagaschatesham Bhaktirgunochitaha it. In some kalpas, Lord Brahma wakes up under the influence of Sattvaguna. In some, he comes under the influence of Rajoguna and under Tamoguna in the others. Those kalpas constitute a single day in his life and have been named by the great sages as Satvika, Rajasa and tamasa, respectively, in this way. In that order of the kalpas, as Satvika, Rajasa, and Tamasa, the lotus born Lord Brahma composed the Vaishnava Puranas, Brahma Puranas, and Shaiva Puranas. This is the result of the constancy of the Puranams as Satvika, Rajasa, and Tamasa. Their strength and weakness depends on the quality of the speaker or Lord Brahma. Itham kalpanayam Matsya Purana Vachanam sa Moolam Sangirante. In support of this speculation, they quote the verses of the Matsya Puranam as the source. Tatrahi, there are verses therein Sankirana Satvikaschaiva Ityadina Kalpanam Sankirana Satvika Rajasa Tamas Bhedena Chaturvidhyam Pradarshya. So through the following verse, Sankirna Satvikaschaiva, so through this shloka, the fourfold classification of the kalpas into Satvika, Rajasa, Tamasa, and Sankirna or mixed has been shown. Yasmin kalpetu yatproktam Puranam Brahmana Pura tasya tasya tu mahatmyam tatsvarupena varnyate iti tattat Puranam tattat kalpe Brahma vinirmitatvam cha uktva pathitam. In each Puranam was spoken by Lord Brahma in a bygone era in its respective kalpa. The greatness of each one of it, along with its nature, is now being described. In this way, the compilation of each Puranam by Lord Brahma in the respective kalpa has been explained. And there are verses Agne Shivasya Mahatmyam Tamaseshu Prakirtitam Rajaseshu Mahatmyam Adhikam Brahmano Viduhu Sankirneshu Saratva Saraswatyaha Pitrunam cha Nigadyate Satvikeshu Kalpeshu Mahatmyam Adhikam Harehe Teshveva Yogasam Siddhaha Gamishyanti Paramgatim iti. The greatness of Agni and Shiva have been spoken in the Tamasa Kalpas, of Brahma in the Rajasa Kalpas, of Saraswati and the deceased ancestors in the mixed Kalpas, and of Hari in the Satvika Kalpas. Those who have attained perfection through the process of yoga in these Satvika Kalpas alone will attain the supreme destination. Atra kalpanam rajasadi vibhagah. The classification of kalpas into rajasa and tamasa has been made here. Tatha vibhagascha tattat kalpeshu brahmanaha tattat guna prachuryadeva. This sort of a classification in each of the kalpas is based on the influence of each of the gunas on Lord Brahma in them. So each of the gunas, sattva, rajas, tamo gunas on Brahma. And then Dikshitendra says, Tattat kalpeshu tena pranitanam purananam paraspara viruddha tattat devatotkarshapakarsha prakhyapana paranam tarthnyena pramanya yoge sati teshu heyopadeya vishaya parigyanaya vaktru gunanuguna bala bala suchanarthatvena saprayojanatvat prakarantarena rajasadi vibhagasya nishprayojanatvat अतः तेषां प्रमाणाप्रामाण्य व्यवस्थानुकूल वक्तृ गुणदोषोद्घाटन पर्यवसायित्वावसायाच्च तथा च कल्पानां राजसादि विभागेन पुराणानां तत्तत्कल्पेषु ब्रह्म प्रोक्तत्वोपवर्णनेन च सामान्यतः पुराणानां वक्तृ गुणानुगुण बलाबल विभागे सूचिते किं देवता परं पुराणं किं गुणेन ब्रह्मणा प्रोक्तम् इति विशिष्य जिज्ञासायाम् अग्ने शिवस्य माहात्म्यं तामसेषु प्रकीर्तितम् इत्यादिकेन च तमोनिरुद्ध तत्त्वावबोधकेन निर्मितत्वात् तामसानि शैव पुराणानि अप्रामाण्यत्वेन ख्यापितानि. So these words are very important. तमोनिरुद्ध तत्त्वावबोधकेन निर्मितत्वात् तामसानि शैव पुराणानि अप्रामाण्यत्वेन ख्यापितानि. The Shaiva Puranas are declared as being tamasa because they were compiled by Brahma when he came under the influence of tamoguna. And these are the reasons why Shaiva Puranams are considered apramanyattvena khyapitena. They are not considered authoritative. And what are the reasons for it? So the first reason Srimad Apayadikshitendra says, Tattatkalpeshu तेन प्रणीतानां पुराणानां परस्पर विरुद्ध तत्तद्देवतोत्कर्षापकर्ष प्रख्यापना पराणां कार्त्स्न्येन प्रामाण्या योगे सति तेषु हेयोपादेय विषय परिज्ञानाय वक्तृगुणानुगुण बलाबल सूचनार्थत्वेन सप्रयोजनत्वात् तामसानि शैव पुराणानि अप्रमाणत्वेन ख्यापितानि. The Puranams that were compiled by him in each of the kalpas contradict each other as they declare the supremacy and subservience of their respective devatas. As a result, the Puranams are not authoritative as a whole. And there is a need to discern those aspects of the Puranams that are acceptable and those aspects that have to be rejected. This discernment could be made by analyzing the strength and weakness of the qualities of the nature of their speaker. So it is because of the strength of the Satvika Puranams. So the Satvika Puranams should be accepted, and those Puranams that are considered Rajasa and Tamasa should be rejected. So the next reason Dikshitendra says is प्रकारांतरेण राजसादि विभागस्य निष्प्रयोजनत्वात् तामसानि शैव पुराणानि अप्रमाणत्वेन ख्यापितानि. Due to the needlessness of the Rajasa and Tamasa group of Puranams as a separate group of literature, the Shaiva Puranams are being declared as Tamasa and they are not authoritative. The third reason which Dikshitendra quotes in his Purva Paksham, Ataha Tesham Pramana Pramanya Vyavasthanukula Bhaktruguna Doshotghatana Paryavasayitva Tamasani Shaiva Puranani Apramanattvena Khyapitani. Due to the conclusion that ends with revealing the desirable and undesirable qualities of the speaker Brahma as an evidence supporting the invalidity of the passages of those Puranams, the Shaiva Puranams are declared as being Tamasa and unauthoritative. Tamasani Shaiva Puranani Apramanyattvena Khyapitani. This is the third reason. And then the fourth reason Dikshitendra says in his Purva Paksham, Tathacha Kalpanam Rajasadi Vibhagena Purananam Tattatkalpeshu Brahma Proktatvopa Varnanena cha सामान्यतः पुराणानां वक्तृ गुणानुगुण बलाबल विभागे सूचिते किं देवता परं पुराणं किं गुणेन ब्रह्मणा प्रोक्तम् इति विशिष्य जिज्ञासायाम् अग्ने शिवस्य माहात्म्यं तामसेषु प्रकीर्तितम् इत्यादिकेन च तमोनिरुद्धतत्वावबोधकेन निर्मितत्वात् तामसानि शैव पुराणानि अप्रमाणत्वेन ख्यापितानि. As a result of being compiled in a state of mind that is afflicted with tamoguna, due to the classification of the kalpas as Rajasa and Tamasa, the Puranams that have been uttered by Brahma in the respective kalpas, the strength and weakness of the qualities and nature of their speaker have been indicated. The following verse answers the query, which Devata is supreme for a given Puranam and under the influence of which of the three gunas it has been uttered by Lord Brahma. Agne Shivasya Mahatmyam Tamaseshu Prakirtitam. Through this passage, the greatness of Agni and Shiva have been spoken in the Tamasa Kalpas. So until here, Dikshitendra has presented Purva Paksham. And he has presented Purva Paksham in very beautiful way that so we can have an insight into the philosophy of the Vaishnavas on the authority of the Puranam. So Dikshitendra has presented it very beautifully. And now he goes on to say the Siddhantam. Nanu ekesham अप्रामाण्यम आपादयत idam eva vachanam tahi bodhyam kimna syat. So the word nanu has been, the meaning of the word nanu here in this word is paramatakshepaha, to raise akshepam or objections against the opponent. So is it not possible for them to comprehend this statement which determines the lack of authority of one set of the Puranams? भूयसां बलीयस्त्वात् ब्रह्मणः तमो वश्यत्वे पुराणानां च केषाञ्चित् तदवस्थायां तेन निर्मितत्वेन तामसत्वे इदमेव वचनं तामसं किं न स्यात्. By the rule of the strength of majority, that is भूयसां बलीयस्त्वं, is this Puranic passage. So the Matsya Puranam is something that is considered as Tamasa Puranam, and the passage of the Vaisam Matsya Puranam, which is considered tamasic, has been quoted to prove the classification of the Puranams. So is this Puranic passage not tamasa as a result of being compiled by Brahma in the tamasa state? Some Puranams were compiled by him under the influence of Tamogunam. Uchyate naitat vachana virodhat tesham badhah. Here is the answer to it, says Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra. No contradiction occurs to them as a result of this Puranic passage. Kintu Paraspara Virodhadeva Krishna Purananam Arthanirnayakatva Shakti Virahe Sati Kim Tai Kartsnyena Tyajyani Uta Kanichita Swikaryani Ityapekshayam Satvadi Mulatva Lakshana Vaishamya Paramidam Vachanam. On the contrary, as a result of mutual contradiction between the passages of the Puranams, it is not possible to ascertain the purport of the Puranams as a whole. In such an event, should all the Puranams be rejected as a whole, or should only a few of them be accepted? In this consideration, the purport of this passage goes against the principle of the Puranams being rooted in Satvadi Gunas. Ataha na bhuyasam baliyastaya asya bachanasya badhaha. Therefore, there is no contradiction to this statement as per the rule of the strength of majority or bhuyasam baliyastvam. And then Dikshitendra says, Atra udahrita matsya vachana jatasya sarva purananam avirodhen pramanyopapadana paravyavasthapanaya tad virodhadeva tavat Paramashiva samhara rudra vivekavadharana shunyanam paresham ayam ayuktaha shaiva purananam apramanyabhimanaha iti svabhagvajrena iva vrutravat paresham abhihitam abhipretyaha. To posit that the essential message of the above quoted passages of the Matsya Puranam is to establish the authority of all the Puranams without any contradiction to each other, that Virodhadeva, by showing the inconsistencies of those arguments, Paramashiva Samhara Rudra Vivekavadharana Shunyanam Paresham Ayam Ayuktaha Shaiva Purananam Apramanyabhyamanaha. So the narrative that the Shaiva Puranams lack authority, this opinion of some scholars who are devoid of the knowledge of the supreme nature of Parameshwara, who is the creator, the sustainer and destructor of this universe. The author of Shikhrini Mala, so he says, he talks about his own self, the author of Shikhrini Mala, Sva Vadvajrena iva Vrutravat Paresham Abhihitam Abhipretyaha. So he shreds into pieces the arguments put forth by the others, just like Indra slayed Vritrasura through the weapon known as Vajrayudha. And then he says the following shloka, Yadanyonyadhikyam vidhihariharanam vidadhatam Purananam matsyam gatima bhidadho kalpa bhidaya tadapramanyam twan mahimavachasam vaktivacha iti asabhyana sthane mukharayati moha pashupate. O Pashupati, due to the fact that Matsya Puranam upholds the nature of the Puranams that demonstrate the supremacy of either of the three gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, in the different kalpas, there is a narrative that this Puranam argues against the authority of those the Purana Vakyams that glorify you. This is not appropriate. So he says it's asabhyam and anasthanam. Anasthanam is something that is out of place. Asabhyam is something that is not fit to be spoken in a sabha of Pauranika Vidwans. And then moham mukharayati, he says this is something that spreads confusion. So, so this is just tip of the iceberg I have discussed. And then Dikshetra goes to very great detail to explain in Purvapaksham and Siddhantam the authority of Shaiva Puranas. So then, because of all of these, we can say that Dikshitendra was the foremost among the Shaiva Pauranikas. He was a very great authority in Advaita Vedanta. He celebrated as Advaita Vidyacharya. He celebrated as Shrikanthamata Pratishthapanaacharya because he made very great contributions to Shrikantacharya's school of Vedanta. He was a very great authority in Vishishtadvaitam also. The kind of Pandityam which Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra had in Vishishtadvaitam, nobody outside of the Sri Vaishnava community has ever had. So, among the greatest acharyas in the Smarta community and in the Madhva community, the kind of understanding which Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra had in the Vishishtadvaita philosophy, it was something that was unparalleled. So, all of these go on to make Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra as a unique acharya in the whole of our Shankaracharya Sampradaya. So, through his works like Shikharini Mala and his own Sanskrit commentary on it named Shiva Tattva Viveka, in a wonderful stotram named Brahmatarka Stava and his own Sanskrit commentary on it, Aditya Stotra Ratnam and his own Sanskrit commentary on it, Durga Charandar Kalastuti and his own Sanskrit commentary on it, Pancharatna Stuti and his own Sanskrit commentary on it, Ramayana Tatparya Sarasanghara Stotram and his own Sanskrit commentary on it, Mahabharata Tatparya Sarasanghara Stotram and his own Sanskrit commentary on it. When we carefully study all of these works, we can say that Dikshitendra is the topmost among all Shaiva Pauranikas. So I can say that after going through the work known as Puranasaram of Swami Vidyaranyar, so I can say that Swami Vidyaranyar was a general Pauranika. And by studying the works of Dikshitendra, what I can say is Dikshitendra was a Shaiva Pauranika. His specialization was the Shaiva group of Puranas. So all of these works of Dikshitendra are very, very important in entering into the study, understanding and interpreting the Shaiva group of Puranas. So that is the Mahat Upakara given to us by Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra. So even stotrams like Aditya Stotra Ratnam and Durga Chandra Kalastuti. So Durga Chandra Kalastuti is not, although it is a stuti on the Devi, so this is a stuti that brings out the essence of the Shaiva Puranams and Vaishnava Puranams. This is not a stuti that brings about the essence of the Shakta Puranams. So that is the secret teaching of Durga Chandra Kalastuti. So once again in Durga Chandra Kalastuti, under the pretext of glorifying Devi, Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra has established the supremacy of both Vishnu and Shiva. So that is why, K.V. Subramanya Shastrigal, the author of Dikshitendra Vijayam, he says, Umakante, Ramakante, Yeshamasin Matisama. So I bow down to Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra, who had equal devotion to both Vishnu and Shiva. So that equal devotion to both Shiva and Vishnu. So when we analyze the Sanskrit commentary of Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra on Durga Chandrakala Stuti, we can see that it is a stotram that brings about the secret teachings of the essence of the Shaiva Puranams and Vaishnava Puranams. So in the same way, Aditya Stotra Ratnam, although it is a, it appears to be a stotram on Surya Devata, the Gauna Devata of this stotram is only Surya Bhagavan. The Pradhana Devata of this stotram is Bhagavan Parameshvara. And once again, Matsi Puranam says that, so there is a chapter on Aditya Vratam known as Aditya Shayana Vratam. So in this Vratam, Bhagavan himself says that those who worship Surya Bhagavan and his own self as one and the same will attain him. So to look upon Parameshvara and Surya Bhagavan as one and the same is very, very important. And that teaching is being presented by Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra and his Aditya Stotra Ratnam. So in this way, in many different ways, Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra has established, taught the Shaiva Puranas in such a way that he also establishes Advaita Siddhantam through this. On one hand, through this through these teachings, by giving a very beautiful exposition on Shaiva Puranams, on one hand, Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra has also established the supremacy of Advaitam through it. On the other hand, he has established the Smarta narrative of the Itihasams and Puranams. So one classical example of this is, so in the Puran, the Itihasams also, one small example is the Valmiki Ramayanam. When we take Valmiki Ramayanam, so there is a narrative that Vibhishana Sharanagati is the ultimate purport of Valmiki Ramayana. So Dikshitendra says that Vibhishana Sharanagati is not the ultimate purport of Valmiki Ramayana. And then he says, in his Ramayana Tatparya Sarasangarha Stotram, so there are the ultimate Pratipadim of Bhagavan Valmiki is not Sharanagati, so as it has been presented by some. So once again here he has beautifully argued against the narrative of great acharyas like Ramanujacharya, Periyavachan Pillai and Swami Vedanta Deshikar of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. He was a great author. He had very high mastery on the Prapatti concept of the Sri Vaishnavas. And although he never argues anywhere against the concept of Prapatti in his works, Dikshitendra argues against the narrative that Vibhishana was a very exalted devotee who made Sharanagati to Bhagavan Rama with the aim of attaining mukti. So that was Dikshitendra argues that Vibhishana was not a mumukshu and he only wanted material gain, he only wanted the kingdom of Ravana. So this is just one example of the teachings of Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra. So all of these go on to make Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra the greatest among the Shaiva Pauranikas. So with this, I would like to conclude today's talk. And Mangalacharanam with the shloka composed by Guru Rama Kavi in his Ratneshwara Prasadana Natakam. So Guru Rama Kavi was the Guru of Srimad Apaya Dikshitendra. Vartantam Sukhita Praja Vasumati Rajanvati Jayatam Vachas Samvananaya Jagratu Satam Shabdarthatankitaha Swayattendriya Vrittaya Shrutimata Chara Ramantam Budhaha Bhakti Shambhu Parayana Bhagavati Sarveshu Sampadyatam Hara Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadeva. So there is a small prarthanam to me to all the astikas, all the followers of Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada. So today, anywhere we go, so hearing Pravachanams on Valmiki Ramayanam, hearing Upanyasams on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Saptaham is something that is very, very famous. So in the same way, even Shiva Mahapuranam, Skanda Puranam, so all of these Puranams should also be propagated. Upanyasams of these Puranams should be organized. Parayanams of these Puranams should be organized. So in olden days, in our Smarta community, so the Parayanam of Shaiva Puranam portions like Sutta Samhita used to take place. So in how many places today we can see Parayanam of Sutta Samhita, or we have a very grand Upanyasam on Sutta Samhita today. So this tradition, so the tradition of studying and propagating the Shaiva group of Puranas is something we should concentrate upon as a society. So with this I conclude today's talk. Har Namah Parvati Pataye, Har Har Mahadeva.